Welcome back to my channel. It's about time I had this stud on my channel, and he is obviously a pro when it comes to these things. So we're going to collab for once and talk to you guys about something you're always asking me: what the bleep are macros and how do you work them out? Everything will be in the description below, so you guys can obviously follow the links, and if you get a bit confused by us, you can read what we say.
And the funny thing is, it can be super simple. It's the whole world out there making it really hard. So what macros, macronutrients, large amounts of, macro means large amounts of certain nutrients. Protein, carbohydrates, fats, we need large amounts of those in our body. Sometimes people consider fiber as a macro as well. It can't technically be classed as one because it can't be turned into energy. Other than that, that's all you really need to know.
So fats are?
Fats are really good for cell development, really good for protection and cushioning of our membranes, and good for development.
And protein?
Protein is repair, recover and rebuild. Simple as that.
And carbs?
Carbohydrates are primary energy source. That's all you need to think of when it comes to carbs.
And you do need them. However, we're just going to delve into carbs because there are two different types of carbs.
Yes, we've got simple and complex carbohydrates. It is as simple as simple. Simple basically means fast, available energy. Things like, honey. I don't know, honey is a really good one. You've got sweets, obviously, and then you've got things like fruits. So people always that's where they get mixed up, because they say, simple carbs are really bad because it spikes your blood sugar level. But fruits are super important as well. The other type, we've got complex. You've got your potatoes, your rice, your pastas, that kind of stuff. Basically means takes a slightly longer time in the body to break down, to be used as energy. Simple as that.
Now everyone thinks that carbs are really bad for you, but they're actually really, really important for your body.
All around the world, I would say nowadays, the reason people think carbohydrates are bad is because we get that bloat when we eat them. For every part carb we hold 3 parts water. So people turn around and go, right, I'm going on holiday, I'm going to drop my carbs down. And you just lose a ton of water. But it doesn't mean that the carbohydrates are the things that have been flushed out. You've got to think that carbohydrates are so important for your primary energy source. So you've just got to moderate the amount of carbohydrates you have, because we tend to, as a Western world, we love carbs as a little bit of a comfort thing. So it's a case of how much.
So now we're going to go on how to work it out. Now there is a million different ways to do it, and also remember, you are an individual, so there is not an exact science for each and every one of us. Everyone is different. But there is an idea of what you can work towards, which is what we're going to show you. However, there are so many different factors you need to think about.
That's
starting with like sleep,
you've got to think of your lifestyle, you've got to think about your available time, you've got to think about your stress levels, you've got to think about your goals, you've got to think about so many different things. Your starting point, are you at a position where your body fat is in a really good position, or do you need to lose some body fat first? Once you've got all of these factors considered and where your lifestyle's at the moment and how your macros are already sitting, or your calories, then you can go on to doing something like a BMR calculator, which are you going to put a link in?
Yeah, I'm going to put a link below which you guys can follow, which is very, very simple. All you guys will need is your weight, and then you'll just need your height, and you'll also just need
your age.
Yeah, your
basically.
age. So it's those 3 questions that it'll come up with an idea amount of calories that you need, and then we're going to show you how to work out the macros to go along with that.
Yeah, so it will give you a basic amount of calories for your body to stay alive, essentially. Then you have to consider in your activity levels, and then it will give you a basic calorie number. Say, for instance, for argument's sake, 2,000 calories. If you've got that number, it's a real good starting point, and then we can factor in your macronutrients.
Okay guys, so for an example, we're going to use me. Remember that I am around 68 kilos, I'm 29, I'm tall,
I'm outgoing, I'm looking for a male.
And I'm highly active. I'm on Tinder if any of you guys want to marry me. So I'm going to be different to you guys. You're going to be very, very different.
Yeah, we're just going to use protein, right?
Yeah, we're going to use protein as the example, but the full example will be down below so you guys can check it out. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but your macros do have a calorie association.
Yeah.
So your fats, carbs, and proteins are different.
Yeah, have a different amount of calories per gram, right? It's not crazy hard. Protein and carbohydrates, for every gram of each of those you have, 4 calories. If you have fat, it's 9. It's a bit of a powerhouse. But if you like alcohol, remember that you're banging around about 7 calories roughly per gram.
Okay, so sticking with protein. So we all have, every PT or anybody who's into this kind of lifestyle has their own definitions of what works perfectly.
Yeah,
now,
we've got
like to sit between.
We have different parameters, right, that we would set our clients on, depending on their activity levels, their experience levels, and their tolerance levels. I personally say anything from around 0.8, 1.2 grams, all the way up to, I wouldn't have a problem with putting an athlete on 3 grams of protein per per kilo of body weight per day, right? That is my personal preference. So
you take your pick. So I'm highly active, but I'm not an athlete. So we're going to go with about 2.2.
About 2.2 to 2.3. So this is where you're going to go. So 2.2 to 2.3 grams.
Times me, which is 68.
Times 68, which will give you a number around 150, which is basically 150 grams of protein per day. You can stop at that.
That is what you would put in my fitness pal.
Exactly that. And then what you do to find out how many calories that has, for every gram, you times it by 4, which will give you
600.
600 calories. You do exactly the same for fat. My parameters of fat are anything from around 0.5 to 1.2, maybe 1.4 if we needed to find some extra calories. And you times that
by 9.
Exactly, you times it by 9 instead.
And then we like to leave carbs as the remainder.
Yeah, so carbs are kind of, I just turn around and go, whatever's left, make it up to the calories, as long as they're not chronically low. Anything for me personally, unless I had a real issue with carbohydrates, chronically low is anything around 100, 120. If you're going any lower than that, you're going to really start to suffer unless your fat is really quite high. Otherwise, unless you're an athlete and you're an absolute beast, depending on your body weight and everything like that, if your carbs come up to like 300-400 grams, I can almost guarantee you will not be able to tolerate that much. So just remember, get a nice little balance. And then if you want to get geeky, 30 to 40 grams of fiber a day. And then on your rest days, you can bring your carbohydrates down a little bit more. I would just keep my protein and fat pretty much constant throughout.
Cool, so we didn't want to complicate this at all, as it is already a little bit too complicated. But obviously if you're carb cycling or doing anything else in competitions, there are different rules come in. We will do another video on this later. We'll put all the description below so that you guys can follow it. Remember that it will change, this is not perfect, and you will not sometimes reach those macros. It's very difficult to be like, yeah, I have 600 calories and I have 150 grams, but you'll probably find that you'll be over and under on different days, but it'll all work out to be about perfect, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Stephen has been farting the entire time we've been filming this behind us, and he stinks. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for being on my channel.
No worries.
If you want more just like quick fire things like this, then shout. We're more than happy to do it. But obviously don't forget to check out the boys' channel because they're amazing, but stick with me because I'm better. Love you guys loads and see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.